What are some of the myths about people who work in geriatrics? I'm Dr. Nicole Didyk, and I am a geriatrician. I've been working with older adults for about 20 years, and it's always interesting when I hear some of the myths about people who work in geriatrics, or at least I think they're myths. Number one is probably that you're a special kind of person if you work in geriatrics. And I do think that's true, but I think that it's just that if we go into geriatrics, it's because we love it and find it really interesting. So naturally, yeah, we're going to be special, but there are people in pediatrics who are special as well, and for the same reasons. So I don't think you need to be a particular hero to go into geriatrics, but I think those people who do are usually fairly committed and passionate. So I'll usually take off my cape and, I don't polish my halo every day, but I don't think I'm a particular superhero for being a geriatrician, at least not every day. Another myth is that you're super patient. And I don't know if that's true. I mean, I think everybody in healthcare has to have a certain amount of patience because it's the kind of job where you can't always be sure what's going to happen, and you might hit delays or things might take longer than you expected. So you have to kind of have patience and maturity to deal with that. But just because the geriatric assessments are super long doesn't mean we're particularly patient. I think it means that we're curious. And I would admit to being curious, and I think most people in geriatrics are curious and kind of want to know why things are happening the way they are, and really what's going on, and being holistic. So that takes a lot of time, but we're not necessarily super patient when we're finding those things out. We're just curious and thorough. Another myth about geriatrics is that it's really sad because all of our patients die. And that's funny because I've had patients for years, over 10 years in a couple of cases. And even though these are older adults, not everybody is necessarily going to pass away within a short time span. So probably there are other people who practice with younger folks, unfortunately, who have patients who pass away more than I do. Geriatric medicine is different than end-of-life care or palliative care, although even a lot of palliative care is less end-of-life. So not everybody in a geriatrics practice is going to die, and not all of my patients do pass away shortly. So that's probably something that people have a misconception about, and it's just not true. And the last thing is that people will think that I'm in geriatrics because I love old people, which is kind of weird as well to me because, old people are a group of people just like kids or dogs or cats. I love dogs, but there's some dogs that really bug me and I don't want to be around. There's some kids who are pretty adorable and other ones that, are very unpleasant. So to sort of say that I love all old people and that's why I want to work with them is kind of odd and just not really accurate. I think there are definitely things about older adults that as a population, that make it interesting and enjoyable to work in this field where it is mostly older people. But to just kind of say that I love old people or you must love old people is kind of a statement that isn't really accurate, and kind of makes me chuckle. So those are my top myths about people who work in geriatrics or work with old people. And if you work in a field with older adults, let me know what your thoughts are and whether you've kind of come across these things. And what do you think? Maybe to you, some of them make sense and they're sort of accurate. Or let me know what are some of the other misconceptions. Oh, I guess another one would be that I am old, which I'm getting a bit older now. But a lot of people, when they meet me, they think that I'm too young. They thought I would have been older. Or a lot of people think I'm a man too, if they don't, before they've met me. So I'm not sure what that's about. But Share with me what some of your misconceptions about people who work in geriatrics are. Thanks for watching, and if you want more, go to my website, thewrinkle.ca, or subscribe here on YouTube.